Hi, and welcome to this edition of Dark Oddity. I'm joined by April once again,
Hello?
and today we're going to discuss mythical beings.
Well, it's a good subject.
There's all different
It
kinds
is.
of beings, and magical
there is.
ones, and good ones, bad ones, and everything in between.
Ones that movies are made of.
Yep.
Okay.
There's, I've done a little research into this.
Okay.
This is all lore, legend, myth.
Right.
So there's no specific, you can't study this in a college or anything. You can study mythical.
Well,
you can, you can to some extent, but there's no real reference to real world. But we all, the most common I know of elves.
Right.
And,
Fairies.
gnomes, fairies. What else you got?
Let's see. So you can rope in with that. And I know that people are going to scoff at this, but along with that comes dragons and giants.
Dwarves.
You go into
I've seen
werewolves.
Lord of the Rings. Werewolves.
Do you know, I've never seen werewolves, vampires. All this, all these creatures that everybody's like, well, the horror movies, but you have to think everything magical or everything mystical. Mm-hmm. Mystical, they all come from a basis of somewhere. It's just that the more that science played a role, right, as we were developing as a civilization, the less that these beings were brought to light or accepted. So
until movies.
And movies depict them in a way
books and movies.
Exactly. And they're often like, you look at werewolves and vampires, right? You have to take those because those are the ones that depicted the worst way. But a werewolf, if you are, yes. If you're going to ask me, I'm going to straight up tell you, I believe that there is a place where you can transform yourself. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people. But it's the energy.
Which shapeshifters.
Exactly.
That's a mythical being.
Exactly.
Mystical, or
and
whatever you want to say.
These things, and there have been videos and stuff where people have seen this.
Mm-hmm.
But for...
Well, isn't Hillary Clinton a lizard person?
Yeah, well, yes, 125%. I can, yes. If anybody can't see it, I'm sorry. Okay. I digress.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
But like werewolves, taking werewolves into take just that one thing.
Yeah.
If you think about taking on the energy of a wolf, shaman will do that, right? They take on the energy of an animal. That will transform your energy. Yeah. And in transforming your energy, no different than channeling, that will transform your features, your eyes. So it can be disputed. So now, are you really transforming or is your energy transforming?
Well, shaman use very heavy drugs to...
Not always.
Not
always. You can go into a sweat. And they won't. Please don't do
Sorry.
Don't sweat while I'm here. No. I'm way too close. But the idea is these came from somewhere. So when people go, well, come on, this came from the imagination. It's no different than, God and angels, they came from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to tell me that you can believe that an angel, which I know exists, their energy exists, can come down, you can't tell me that there's not another mythical being that can exist.
Good point.
I've seen them.
Point. Yeah.
So here's the thing now. Now you're talking to somebody who sees things like that.
Yeah.
I have no problem admitting, I've seen things like that.
Yeah.
And recognize their energy like that.
Wow.
And the more that you start to work with that, the more that you're open, the more you see it.
Yeah.
They do exist.
Absolutely. I've witnessed some things myself that bone chilling.
Yeah.
Bone chilling.
When you think about that, when you stop and think about that, you go, wait a minute. If I've experienced that, then that's showing you it exists.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Then you stop and say, well, how can people say it doesn't? Well, because people want to shut their mind and things, people get scared.
Yeah.
But like, look at fairies. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I saw something not too long ago with there are some evil fairies out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
But for the most part, fairies are very mischievous. You don't want them in your house.
Yeah.
We had an experience, if I can tell this story really quick. It was my brother and myself and one of the women that I practiced with. We invited the fairies into my house unknowingly like what was going to happen. We were calling in on that fae energy and elemental energy, and we were we were astral traveling, and all of a sudden we became ridiculously giddy. Now I'm going to point blank tell you that we were not drinking anything but tea, because that's what this was. We don't drink when we're doing stuff like that. I have to put that out there. But each and every one of us got pinched or bit on the leg.
Really?
And somewhere one of us has photos, and I have to find them for you. We had the bruises for like a month. It was insane. It was insane. And then things go missing. Your keys go missing, or your cup gets knocked over, which is why you never invite those lovely creatures into the house. You keep them outside.
Now, I've heard there's something that where you can go and find fairies, like a fairy ring or circle,
a fairy ring or a fairy garden. If you notice, you'll feel the energy immediately. Do you ever see, you'll see, when they say it's a ring, it's almost like a ring. It's green area that's almost in a perfect circle, but you'll feel that, or there'll be just a ring and there'll be green on the outer, but you'll feel the difference when you walk in.
One time we went on an excursion together. We had split off, and I was with Tina and Joe Fu.
Right.
And we entered this area, and it was weird because you could feel
the difference.
You could feel like the sensation and the vibration from this area. And the crazy thing is we all got a little dizzy.
Yep.
And we were in the woods, and we were only separated by like 100 yards or two.
Yep.
From you guys, but yet we couldn't seem to navigate about 20 yards out of this circle area.
Yep.
And it was the weirdest thing. And it was just like, what's going on here? We keep trying to leave, but we couldn't really get out.
And that's what happens when you're in a fairy ring.
And it took, and it basically, because Joe Fu and Tina were just like walking in circles. And it took me like partially climbing a log in a tree that were half down to say, I'm out of here.
Yep.
And then I got them to follow over the same thing. And it was just like, it was really strange.
You have to think about it. You're in their neck of the woods now, so to speak.
Yeah.
You're in their area, so it
was like we got lost in a 20-yard circle, and it took us like 25 minutes to get out of it.
Yep.
That was crazy.
That's a fairy ring.
That was crazy. A lot of stories like that.
Oh, yeah, there are.
Oh, yeah.
There are.
A lot of good stuff. But more or less with fairies now, supposedly if you look through the myth and the legend of fairies, in early literature, they started out as the dead coming back. Generally with suicides or bad people come back as fairies. Now, there was a stigma, of course, when you go back 600-700 years ago, or even 1,000, most of the creatures that are in the paranormal range are, stigmatized to be evil and bad.
Exactly.
But it's not always the case.
No.
Good chance they are, but it's not always the case. And fairies were supposedly, somebody who died and was a bad person, a murderer, or a suicide, and that's how they came back. That was the origins of fairies.
Yeah, but that's not accurate. Where did that origins come from?
It's in early literature. It's just
because that's not the fae are just fae. Can you have fae and human? Yeah, of course you can over the course of the time. But fae are beings they're created no different than humans are created.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, part of the law says that all these mystical beings were an evolution of life prior to us, and they still exist.
They do still exist.
Yes.
And it was prior to us.
Yeah.
And humans used to interact with them on a regular basis, as if like you and I were sitting here. And
I've seen Lord of the Rings.
Okay. I've only read the books. I've never seen the movie. I've never seen the movies.
I read the books years ago, and I've reread them 100 times.
But But the idea is, again, when science takes over and your civilization is moving forward, it's kind of like, well, that can't be. Why can't it be?
Yeah.
If your science can coexist with religions, why can't you tell me that it can't go? Because there's more truth to that.
Yeah.
Because with that comes an innate power.
Well, people
or
are more apt to
ability.
believe there's a dancing ghost in the sky than if there's a dancing ghost in my bedroom.
Right.
You know, and
Or,
the
fairies that come and steal your keys.
yeah, the two seem pretty evenly matched, if you ask me. But
I agree.
I have seen some crazy stuff where I lean more to the side of, well, there's a dancing ghost in my closet than one in the sky.
And I need to, because I mentioned vampires. So vampires, the blood-sucking thing. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even tell you where that came from. But vampires, for the most part...
I can.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Okay. Enlighten me.
Well, the story's based out of Vlad the Impaler.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Now, his father was Dracul, so he was son of Dracul, which was translated to Dracula.
Right.
Vlad Tepes. And in Romania, right outside of Transylvania, he actually never lived in Transylvania, by the way.
No, he did not.
He ruled over it as one of the three territories he ruled over in the, I believe, 1600s, somewhere around there. His story is very complex if you actually look into it, where his father was the ruler, and they were with the warring kingdom next to them, and they decided to go for a peace offering. They were invited. His father, the ruler, took him and a brother, and they left another brother behind, and they went to try to diplomatically make peace. Well, all three were captured and held. And the father, the ruler, Dracul, the actual senior, made a deal that he can get released because he's the king and all. And you keep my sons, and I will go on.
Guy.
Yeah. Turns out, though, history is a little iffy at that point, but they were tortured, but they were also educated. So when they came out of that, and I don't really know how long it took, but, evidently it was years. And when they were released finally, or escaped, whatever the case may be, they got back to what was their kingdom, and the brother and the father who had left, and the brother that they left behind there were both killed, which caused Vlad to freak out and start murdering every enemy he had. And what he would do is he would conquer a certain region and take all their soldiers and impale them. And you think that's bad. He also took the women and children, did the same thing.
So now,
that story comes out, and the whole blood drinking part comes out because supposedly he would feast where the corpses were. And he would, no reference in actual history, dip his bread in the blood of those murdered around him.
So now look where vampire, now go ahead to when they started. Right.
And then stories don't start until after that.
Right. But now you think about, but that's not the true sense of vampire. Now I want you to think about this. So somebody who is considered a vampire is really a psychic vampire. Okay. What we know today.
Yeah.
Are there people, I will tell you, there are probably groups of people out there that drink human blood because they're...
Sure. We see them on the news once in a while.
There you go. Okay, we should leave.
Megan Fox and Kelly, they just drank each other's blood, by the way.
But the idea of a vampire is somebody who can sit next to you or sit in front of you, and they have to be close to you. Now, hear what I'm saying. They have to be close to you to drain your energy. And in doing so, your eyes will become glazed, your skin will become white, and you will be in a daze, and you will not be able, right?
Sorry,
exactly.
I was dazing. Sorry.
I haven't gotten that close to yet. But
I'm getting pretty white here.
But you will actually be left and rendered without any energy. So if I did that to you, you would be sitting in the chair.
I believe that.
But in order to dissuade that, they kind of combined stories, and they said they drank your blood. They don't really do that.
Yeah.
But it can render you the same way. I mean, and yes, somebody can actually get you to do things that you...
Yeah, oh, sure. I'm sure.
I've seen this. I've seen people do this.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not
very... They're never... Honestly, that is not a nice thing.
No.
It is not... We don't say, yay, we want one of those on our team.
No.
No, we don't.
The legends start with Vlad, and the books start being written afterwards. And
nowhere does
there was actually
he bites their neck and
there was actually a book before Bram Stoker that spoke about something, but I think it actually used life force as opposed to sucking blood. And Bram Stoker just did his twist on it, and
exactly like anything else.
Yeah, it's a good book back then, especially. But whether it's rooted in fact.
But the idea is, if you're going to say that this exists, then you have to be open-minded enough to say this exists.
I agree.
But with coming of this, it confuses people.
Yeah.
Mythical beings and
and there's all sorts that we haven't even gotten to cover. The list is extensive, and
there are some things we haven't even come across yet.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm hoping.
Yep.
That we'll get to.
I mean,
like we may experience it ourselves.
We did experience something.
We did.
Yes, we did. Something a little crazy. We have to edit that one and put it out. We should.
Yeah, we really should.
Yeah, we really should. It was interesting.
That was very, very cool.
It was. Yeah.
That's got to get out there.
Yeah.
Be sure to watch for that one.
So, is there anything else you want to speak about with these type of creatures or anything?
I mean, I'd like people to be a little bit more open-minded about it, and
not gonna happen in this day and
I know,
age.
not look at me like I'm half nut, because I'm used to it though. I'm used to. Who did we touch on? We touched on faeries and.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's an extensive list, but like I said, in this day and age, people believe what they believe, and that's it.
Yeah.
And social
I guess we
media
can't judge
and
them.
all
We
that.
want them to judge us. So.
You can go into a rabbit hole on social media just looking some of this stuff up.
Why I don't do it.
Yeah, but
I don't
in reference to what we're
rabbit hole.
talking about, though, there's just a lot of information. You don't know how accurate it is, or how much is fact or fiction, but it's pretty good, something to look into.
When you start connecting with people who have the same experiences, that that's when okay, there's something else out there.
Yeah,
that's when you know that
Absolutely.
Hey, so I saw this gnome-like creature, in my house one day, and somebody else says, oh my God, so did I. Then
Chris has him cleaning.
Yes, he does. He does. I've seen his.
Could have lent me one with the hamsters.
But you did a great job by yourself.
The pigs. They were pigs. Anyway, but thanks for checking us out.
Yeah.
Want to say get your merch on with
Awesome Cup.
Dark Odyssey and the Journey merch on Teespring. Check us out on YouTube. We are now showing videos on Spotify. We will hopefully get to back release some of the older videos.
Yeah, that'd be
along
cool.
with the podcast, which you can check out on most
Yep.
podcast sites. Get your witch on Magic Moon Sisters.
Thank you.
Check us out. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What you doing? Hi, Moose. You want to race? You got this, buddy.
So how much moose power is this truck?
How many moose power? How many moose power is this truck? Dave wants to know. Okay, we'll see you at the bottom. Hasta luego, amigo.